Hi, my name is Chris O'Malley, and today I want to share with you a little secret. Why the wealthy don't use 401ks and IRAs. I kind of liken it to what everybody's doing right now with 401ks, 403bs, TSPs is kind of like traveling by horseback. What this is taking your investments and your money and your generational wealth to whole new levels where you're driving a 2023 car versus going by horseback. Today, I want to talk to you about what I consider the perfect investment and how the wealthy use it to leverage it to multiply their wealth and to just basically speed up their wealth creation. I'm going to call this Grandpa's Little Secret because wouldn't you want to know this today instead of 50 years from now, saying, oh man, I should have done something like this before. Your money will grow faster and it'll make your money last longer as it's guaranteed for life. This program is going to give you 5 to 30 times more money than a 401k. It'll also take you from your current tax bracket down to the zero tax bracket. I've been doing this for over 30 years, and this is something I think will change you and your family's life for generations. But why do people want this? Today in the I gotta have it now world, this is something where people demand the best and they want results the fastest. They don't have any trust in the stock market anymore. Kind of compared to like sports betting. They don't want anything like that. They want as high possible returns as they can guess. No stress. They want to have confidence that what they're doing is right. They don't want to think about it. They want somebody to tell them what to do and make sure it's going to work, regardless of which way the market goes or how high inflation gets. Now, as you're planning for your future, there are 3 different categories that you need to address. Your financial assets, what most people talk about as far as their cash, house, and estate planning, but you also have to focus on your foundational assets and your intellectual properties. Foundational assets are things that you cherish the most, and probably your most prized possessions on earth, but such as your spouse, kids, family, health, faith, heritage, talents, unique abilities, and favorite charities. But you also want to share your intellectual wisdom and your experiences, formal education, reputation, methods, systems, traditions. You want to make sure all that passes on to your children and your grandchildren. This is something I want to touch on today, is to share my wisdom and knowledge to transform your financial future. We operate a family office with 53 employees, and I liken it kind of like to Google. You go to Google, type in, you get an immediate answer for what you're looking for, and you can trust it. Same thing with us. We can touch on any one of these categories, from tax planning, tax mitigation, pension risk management, wealth management, income multipliers, non-liquid asset management, life insurance advice, financial education, legal advice, wealth transfer, business advisory, and succession planning. But today, I want to talk to you about financial education and income multipliers. Now, most people, unfortunate as it is, 65% of the US right now only has Social Security benefits for the retirement. Social Security benefits were not made to replace your income. So as you can see here, age 67 for a typical person is full retirement age. You can take Social Security as early as age 62, but each year you take it before age 67, you lose 5% of the benefits. So at age 62, you're getting only 75% of what full benefits are. And conversely, if you wait every year after 67, you get an extra 5%, where you have to take it at age 70. The argument is, when do you take Social Security? Well, at age 62, you can see in this example, $11.29 a month versus age 70, $2,087 a month. Most people look at the bigger number and like, oh man, I'm going to wait and get this bigger number. But the truth is, if you forego this $11.29 a month, you're giving up $108,000. I can write this, $108,000 by waiting to age 70. There's a lot of things you can do in 8 years with $108,000. To have these two figures equal each other, the break even is age 80. So if you have a magic time machine where you can tell how long you're going to live, that usually can dictate when you want to take Social Security. But by and large, I say take it while you got it, and you can invest this $108,000 however you like to make up that difference going forward. But if you wanted to do kind of like a extended planning here, say you make 100 grand a year right now, and you're going to take Social Security at age 62. So in that example, you probably make like 14,000 a year. What are you going to do to fill that income gap, which is quite hefty? Income gap of about $86,000. If you were to put it in your 401k before taxes and you use the 4% rule, you roughly need $2 million to produce that kind of income before tax. And the average 401k right now in the United States is 200,000. So you can see that there's a problem there. And generally speaking, it's not addressed until it's too late. I want to show you why the wealthy don't use 401ks and why they use Index Universal Life to maximize their estates and their retirement incomes. What we want to do is make your money work more efficiently by eliminating market losses, eliminating fees, eliminating taxes. And the reason why the wealthy love this so much is there's no contribution limits. 401ks have a $22,500 limit. And the Roth under age 50 has a limit of $6,500 a year. And if you're over 50, $7,500 a year. For the high income earner, these numbers do not work for somebody that wants to put away 6 figures a year. But we can use those same programs, regardless of what your income is, to multiply your retirement income by 5 to 10 times. Now, let's briefly get into a little financial education here. I want to tell you how the banks, investment firms, and the government make money. Most people kind of guess how banks make money, but say you deposited $100,000 into your bank account. They turn around and they lend it to me at 5%. There's no way that they would stay in business if they just made that $5,000. So what the Federal Reserve does is it allows them to use that $100,000 as collateral, and they'll loan them 10 times that amount overnight. So in this example, it'll be $1 million. So they can loan out 1.1 million, make 55,000, and pay you the $1,000 or whatever you might make. That is how the banks make their money. But how the banks try to keep their money is 25 to 35% of their money goes into life insurance companies for what's called BOLI, or bank-owned life insurance, where they either own life insurance on other individuals or they have loaned it out to individuals through premium financing to buy life insurance policies. Now, the reason they do this is because life insurance companies are the opposite of banks. Banks are very heavily levered on how much money they've borrowed, and one small move can take a bank under, like Silicon Valley Bank earlier this year. Life insurance by federal law is for every dollar that they have promised to pay you, they have to have $1.10 in cash to cover that. So the investment in a life insurance company is much safer than even bonds. Now, investment firms, those funds, whether they're 401ks, 403bs, even TSPs, 457s, there are fees involved. Now, according to Forbes, they only have to report one fee, but there's actually 19 different fees. So the average fees go from 4% all the way up to about 8% a year. So if you, in this example, say that you deposited $100,000 into a mutual fund 50 years ago, and it never lost any money, earned 6% every single year, but January 1st of every year, they took out 4% out of your account. After 50 years, you would have accumulated 302,000 in your account, which is not too bad. You would have tripled your money. But the firm over those 50 years, taking out the 4% every single January 1st, took out over $2 million out of your account. These type of accounts I call herd mentality, because everybody thinks the 401k, the 403b are the way to go, but it's not in their best interest. It's in the investment firm's best interest. Now, the government taxes us every time we turn around, but they want us to pay more in taxes on retirement funds than less, obviously. So they would rather have you do something where you don't pay taxes and pay taxes later, called tax deferred, or versus doing like a Roth or life insurance where you pay taxes first and then the money goes in after taxes and it grows tax free. Like this 401k here example is tax deferred. They love these accounts because that 300,000, even if you had matches in it from your employer, they got a big fat tax bill that you or your family owes if you were to pass away, 125,000 at least. Who knows where taxes are going to go? If taxes spike like they did in the 70s, you could have over 200,000 in taxes on your retirement account. We want to eliminate the fees. We want to eliminate the taxes to make our money more efficient so we don't have to worry about future risk. This is the latest campaign topic for Joe Biden. He's like, we're going to tax the rich, make sure they pay their fair share. Rich people don't pay their taxes, blah, blah, blah. But the truth is, the tax code was created by the wealthy and they don't pay taxes. Say in this situation, I was a doctor and I had a practice, I made $2 million a year. I'm not going to take that $2 million out and pay the taxes on that because that'd be about $1 million. I'll leave it in the practice, pay the 15% marginal tax rate, the 300,000, and just let the money sit in the business. How I'm going to pay my bills is I'm going to leverage or borrow against my assets that I have, like cash value life insurance, index universal life or whole life. I could take loans off of my capital account or even my accounts receivable. Or I can even take loans off of my stock portfolio through an index line of credit. But what I want to talk to you about is what I think is the best investment around there. It was invented by E.F. Hutton in 1980, and it was called Universal Life back then. Later changed to Index Universal Life, or the IUL that we're going to talk about, in 1997. But the premise behind this is that Hutton didn't like in the 70s all the crazy inflation, the market whipping up and down, mostly down, high gas prices, inflation out of control. He wanted something that was stable, that he never had to worry about. In fact, they had a commercial that was famous in the 80s where they have two people sitting at a restaurant and one person's talking about his broker and then the other person says, well, my broker is E.F. Hutton. And E.F. Hutton says, and the whole restaurant goes quiet. What Hutton came up with this index strategy was this. If the market went down, guaranteed to never lose any money. If the market went up, you would get a multiple of that of 1.5 to 2.5 for what the market did. Whatever gains were made were locked in. And he housed it in a life insurance policy so that the money would grow tax-free, would come out tax-free, and would transfer tax-free. So in this example of the doctor again, say that I'm the doctor and I'm 67 years old here. The way that these policy loans work is you're borrowing against the death benefit. It's like an equity line of credit. So these loans that come out, in this case, 61,957, are non-reportable income. So if you were in retirement and you had, say, a pension, your pension would go on your tax return, Your Social Security would go on your tax return. This would not go on there. Now, why it's guaranteed for life is because you never withdraw any money. In the account value here, you can see these numbers: 465, 505, 458, 594, 642. It keeps growing. So your account keeps compounding. So this is guaranteed for life, these payments. If I were to pass away, say here at age 73, and I had taken out 433,000 in loans, that money doesn't get paid back unless you want to while you're alive. It gets subtracted from your death benefit so that when you pass, your family will get the 518,000 here tax-free. This is something that'll give you anywhere between 5 and 30 times more money than a 401k. I'll show you here in some later slides exactly the hard numbers on that. But this is something that is life-changing. There'll never be any worrying about money in retirement. There'll never be any worrying about money to pay for home care, nursing care, long-term care. You have guaranteed income for life with no risk. And getting back to our other slides there, they want somebody to tell them what to do these days that have instant results that are guaranteed that they never have to worry about. This is your product. E.F. Hutton's Index Universal Life. Now, if somebody were to sit down and say, if I'm going to diagram the perfect investment, I want it to be fully liquid so I can get cash whenever I want. I want it to be safe so I'll never lose any money. I want low cost. I want a good or the highest rate of return that I possibly can get. And I want it to be tax efficient without any limitations. If that were the diagram for everything that needed to be a perfect element for the perfect product, these are all the elements that are in the Index Universal Life, minus it being tax deductible contributions. It is fully liquid. You can get money either the same day or within 24 hours via, they would just deposit it in your checking or savings account. You can leverage it to multiply your income. There's no market risk. There's no creditor risk. You can't be sued and they can't take that money from you. There's no default or interest rate risk. And the guarantee is that the income will last for life because you're never withdrawing any money. There's no expenses, and the insurance companies actually pay you back for owning it so that there's a zero net cost. I can write with my cursor here, zero net cost. Unlimited rate of return, there's no caps to the earnings that you can make. So if the market goes up 30%, you make 30% times the multiplier. You are going to see in the future slides here that you'll make 5 to 30 times more money doing this. And there aren't any IRS implications from this. There's no income limitations. There's no contribution limits. There's no minimum distributions when you get at a certain age. There's no penalties. This is the perfect product that you have to add to your portfolio. Just diagramming the index versus actually being in the market. This is Hutton's index that Warren Buffett says, if you want to gain wealth, use an index and not the market itself. This is exactly this green line and index from year 2000 to 2022, where the green line is the S&P index and the red line is actually being in the S&P 500. Now, $100,000 deposited in both accounts, same market returns. You can see here in the first couple of years that the market goes down, but your 100,000 is locked at 100,000 because you're guaranteed never to lose any money. Market goes up 11,000 the next year, takes it, locks it in. 9,000 next year, locks it in. 4,000 next year, locks it in. But over the course of time here, and these are actual returns, at the end of 2022, you'd have about $150,000 more in the index account than actually being in the market. Now, if you threw fees in there too, it'd be another $100,000 less than that. So it'd be $250,000 difference of an account with market losses and with fees. Now, I kind of want to talk to you about how taxes are the real killer of any retirement account. Right now, we really don't know what income taxes are, but in 1970, if you made over $250,000, the federal tax rate was 90, that's right, that's a 92%. That's why Ronald Reagan got elected, because the first day in office, he took that federal tax rate down to 39%. 39. Who knows where taxes are going? If we can address them now and eliminate them, we'll never have to worry about this. But say that we had a 401k with 500,000 in it versus $1 million index universal life with 490,000 in it. Because we're never withdrawing the 490, it keeps growing, and we can keep taking policy loans off this million. The policy illustration says you can take out 52,841 tax-free every single year. If we wanted to get that 52,841 from the 401k, how long do you think that account would last? Well, the answer is 6.5 years. If we had the 506,000, we would have to withdraw almost $80,000, $79,222. Pay the tax due of $26,381. I had this account always earning money, but you can lose money in your 401k when you're in retirement, which absolutely kills it. But we have almost the 4% growth. Subtract the fees to get to our net after tax 52,841. But you can see the balance in the account. There's no way that it's going to make $80,000 every single year. So this account crashes in 6 years, where it's completely out of money in 6.5 years. Compare that to the index universal life we were talking about. $1 million life base, 490,000 in it. We can take policy loans of 52,841 every single year for the rest of our life, guaranteed to never run out of money. So I had this going from age 66 to age 100, which produced 1,796,594, or basically 1.8 million in tax-free income. Say we died at age 100, that was subtracted from the death benefit. We still had 600,000 that went to the family. So just to put some numbers on this program provided us with 2.4 million versus the 401k's 500,000. That's 5 times more money with less risk and no worries. You never have to worry about it, paying taxes ever again, and your family doesn't have to worry about paying taxes. If you had this account and you died before you started taking any money on it, your family would have to pay the taxes on the 500k, because somebody's paying money on a retirement account that's tax deferred. So why do we want to use this? We can create tax-free income that's 5 to 30 times more. We can lower our current tax bracket or even eliminate it down to 0. We can convert current assets and cash or capital gains and get those taxes reduced by 90%. We can convert underperforming life insurance to earn anywhere between 12 and 16%. We can even convert 401ks to tax-free and have the bank pay for it. Now, let's take a little example here of how we converted a 401k of 250,000. This was more for an estate play than income, but I just want to show you the power of leveraging. Because you can't put a $250,000 deposit directly one time into an index universal life, you have to split it up over 5 years. So here we split it up to 50,000 over 5 years. Once the cash builds up, we can get a third party to make those deposits every single year for the rest of our life. But the thing I wanted to show you here is insurance companies have this thing called expense reimbursement, where they actually pay you back for owning the policy. So in this example, after 5 years, the insurance company starts paying you back for owning it. So this example is 30 years later. 30 years later, they've paid you $620,000 to own the policy that you put $250,000 into. Right. They paid you $620,000 for the $250,000 that you put in there. Now, this is a program that you can also take policy loans from. You can pretty much decide what you want, but it's created living benefits or cash that's available to you while you're alive of $5.8 million. That's 24 times more money than your original retirement account. There are so many different programs that are available to you using Index Universal Life, and how you can make assets you have tax-free or double, triple, even 24 times your estate or your income. It's something that has got to be custom made. That's why I encourage you to call or text me. My cell phone number here, 630-935-4252. Let me change your life and your family's life for generations. Talk to you soon. Take care.